So now we are working with what's called compound inequalities. This is when two inequalities are joined by the word and or the word or and or. So when we're using the word and, it's called a conjunction. So an example of a conjunction with the word and would be number 4, -3 less than 2x plus 5, and 2x plus 5 is less than or equal to 7. Because two of those are identical, the 2x plus 5 and the 2x plus 5, we can write this as one inequality. -3 less than 2x plus 5 less than or equal to 7. This only works if you're going from smallest to largest and you have the word and in it. So if you're solving a conjunction like this, we still want to solve for x in the middle. So we would get root of that plus 5 by subtracting 5 from the middle, subtracting 5 from the right, but also subtracting 5 from the left. There are now 3 sides to that inequality, compound inequality. That gives us a -8 less than 2x less than or equal to 2, and then divide everything by 2. We get -4 less than x less than or equal to 1. Notice that we're still dividing by a positive number, so the inequalities did not change. The top number didn't matter, the -8 was already there, but we are physically dividing by a positive number. If we were to write this in interval notation, it would be parenthesis -4, because we have a strictly less than, so -4 is not included, all the way to a +1, but since we have the less than or equals to, we would use the bracket. Note, the solution when you have a conjunction, when you have an and, is either one interval, which is what we got, between -4 and 1, or no solution. In other words, if you were to work these separately, and if you were to graph, let's say from here to here, and then you ended up with one from here to here, if there's no overlap, then no solution, okay? When you have the word and, it has to satisfy both at the same time. That's why we only have one interval or no solution. When we use the word or, it's a disjunction, and there is no other way to write a disjunction. So in example 5, we have 2x minus 5 is less than or equal to -7, or 2x minus 5 is greater than 1. So we have to solve both of these separately. So for the first equation, we can add 5 to both sides. That would give us 2x less than or equal to -2. Then divide both sides by the coefficient of 2, and we get x is less than or equal to -1. Writing that in interval notation, we get -infinity to -1 with a bracket with a -1. Now let's work with the second equation. With the second equation, we would need to add 5 to both sides. This would give us 2x greater than 6. Divide by the coefficient of 2, we get x is greater than 3. That means anything higher than 3 would work, just 3 is not included. So when we write the solution here, we still want to write them from smallest to largest, with our first interval from -infinity to -1 bracket, union parentheses 3, comma, infinity parentheses. So notice the solution for disjunctions or the word or will either be 2 intervals combined with a union, which is what we got, or all real numbers. In other words, if those 2 intervals overlap, think of it as graphing it on a number line. If you have one that graphs there to the left, and then the other one graphs here to the right, well, remember it's or. Either, in this example, either the purple or the green would work. So if either of them work, that includes everybody. So when they overlap, it's all real numbers.